The I'm F.I.N.E podcast is produced by LaMore Media, L.L.C, and is run by Project Headspace and Timing. Project Headspace and Timing is a 501c3 that I started in 2017 after a veteran that I was a medic to decided to pull over on the side of the road and end his life. As an organization, Project Headspace and Timing works on veteran advocacy and veteran outreach. What that means is through the advocacy perspective, we try to connect veterans to other resources as early on into the process as possible. What that entails is early contact with veterans, forming a safety net with their family members, friends, and fellow service members, educating them on the resources, and when that veteran is ready to get help, we are there to make sure that they get the help that they need. The outreach aspect is put there to get veterans together to do productive and constructive things, whether it's out in nature, working with other businesses, anything to get them out around other veterans where those good conversations can happen if they want to have them. If you are interested in finding out more information about our organization, please visit projectheadspaceandtiming.org, our Facebook page, Project Headspace and Timing, or our Instagram, which is Project Headspace and Timing. And if you would like to donate to our organization, please visit our website, projectheadspaceandtiming.org, scroll to the bottom, and you will find a link to our Venmo. If you'd like to send us a check, our P.O. Box is P.O. Box 382, Manteno, Illinois, 60950. And if you'd like to sponsor or have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me at Eric P. as in Paul, at projectheadspaceandtiming.org. Thank you. On today's episode of the I'm F.I.N.E podcast, we're going to be talking about the holiday blues. It may be no surprise to you, but many people around this time of year feel themselves dealing with a sect of depression known as the holiday blues. So today we're going to talk about what it is, where it comes from, and how to deal with it.
Welcome to the I'm F.I.N.E podcast with your freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional hosts, Eric Peterson and Brad Stozick.
We made it over the hump. We made it over the 10 episode hump.
We did it. We can call it quits now.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. It's been fun.
And we also had a Christmas party, which was nice.
We did.
Not too long ago.
Yes.
And I didn't know if you know this. So we had a Project Headspace and Timing Christmas party. A few days ago, maybe before this.
Yeah.
And we had Santa Claus there. And the Santa Claus is the Santa Claus, the dude who came out there. Like, that's Santa Claus to me.
Yes.
I will tell everybody that's Santa Claus. And the coolest thing about it is he's got a fucking challenge coin. And he gave me a challenge coin at the Christmas party.
For real?
Yep.
Dude.
And I am a big fan of challenge coins. I love challenge coins. And that is single-handedly the coolest fucking challenge coin that I have.
That's a good one. I think the only one I have is from graduating boot camp.
Yeah?
Man, that was it.
Where'd you get one from?
Like the PX.
Oh, okay.
We just like bought one. Just
Yeah.
But I know. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I got a challenge coin from the CEO whatever unit I was with because of the Thanksgiving meal we prepared. He was very impressed.
Oh, that's cool.
So
you got that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So the fact that I got one from fucking Santa Claus, dude, and I said something, my buddy Nick, who's also a board member with FAT, he was right next to me, and like he immediately looked at Santa when he gave me that challenge coin. Santa gave Nick a challenge coin, and Nick was like, dude, I got a coin from a 3-star general, and this coin is way fucking cooler than that coin, because it's from Santa Claus, dude. Like, that trumps everything.
Yes.
And we had a good time.
It was.
And it was a good party.
Yeah.
And this episode's about the holiday blues.
It is
but
about the holiday blues.
man, you seem like you're doing all right.
I'm doing great.
I don't think you can be in this episode because you're just too happy.
All right, well,
you don't have the holiday blues.
I'll see you later then.
Yeah.
I don't have the holiday blues. I'm decorating, I'm singing, it's fantastic, man.
That's
I
good,
love
man.
it.
That's good. What do you think is helping you with that?
I changed my lifestyle, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I started going to the gym. I changed my diet. Dude, I started meditating 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Best decision I've ever made in my life. I don't think I've ever been disconnected on an emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual level in my entire life, dude. And I plan on riding this high out for the very foreseeable future.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's a very good thing, I think.
for sure.
But for the rest of us, we may be dealing with the holiday blues. So, have you ever dealt with the holiday blues before? I mean, what about, like we talked about before, not having, a parent around and stuff
Yeah.
like that? I mean, that fucking plays into it for sure, right? But you're
Yeah.
able, again, you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, but previously I have felt the holiday blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. A lot in the military.
Yeah.
I've typically I'm pretty Scroogey when it comes to Christmas decorating and Christmas music, and after Thanksgiving they play the first Christmas song, and I'll turn it off. Or my kids think it's funny to put like the Alvin and the Chipmunks CD, like the Christmas CD, in the car,
Yeah.
so that when I get in the car, that's the very first thing
You
that
get
plays.
super mad.
I mean, I used to, but
Yeah. All right.
yeah, this year they tried it, and I started singing along, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Can't fuck with me today.
Minor victories.
So I found that as far as how long the holiday blues has been around, it's hard to say how long. One of the earliest mentions of this term came from a 1985 New York Times article with the heading "Countering Depression During the Holidays." And they talked about the number of housewives that were dealing with significant stress around the holidays. And that's kind of where the term initially came from. But as far as like why we get it, and some of the causes. So I found some really interesting stuff on an article on the website Scientific American. So there's a lot of contributing factors to have the holiday blues, diminished daylight, unfavorable comparisons of this holiday season to past ones, which I think is huge. Like nostalgia is a very fucking terrifying thing. An article I found in The Atlantic said holiday traditions are built on memory, which psychologists believe take two forms. The first is semantic memory, which is our knowledge about the world and instructions for how to use it. Semantic memory is how you know that Christmas happens every year around this time, and it's a good time for me and my family. The second type of memory is episodic memory, which is the conscious recollection of personal experiences, such as when I was 9 at Christmas Eve, I asked my dad what to leave out for Santa, and he told me to leave out beer. Like, I remember that in my fucking head. That's episodic memory. So they talk about the two types, and what that really made me think about, in addition to the COVID pandemic and all this other kind of shit that can kind of contribute to the holiday blues, is like you're always going to compare shit to the past, and that's a very scary thing to do, because nothing's ever going to compare to the past. Like it doesn't work that way. Like what's one of the best childhood memories about Christmas in general that you have?
Oh, dude, we would go every Christmas morning. We would open our presents, and then we would go to my grandma's house, and you could walk in immediately, smell the Italian like cooking. Dude, she was such a great cook.
Yep.
And then there was just a sea of presents that would extend from like the tree all the way to the kitchen. Just so many presents. And then there was always the one big one, and it was usually for the youngest child. But we knew that, but every year we're like, oh, whose is it? Whose is it?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was probably I'll never, it's like you can't get that smell out of your head. You know what I mean? Like the cooking and the Christmas and the pure joy of just everybody there.
And and again, I think that's the episodic memory.
Yeah.
And having that, so again, from The Atlantic, episodic memory is like having a virtual photo album, a video library in your head, yet its existence remains a bit of a scientific mystery. A lot of scholars think it's like some sort of evolutionary quirk, that we would have used past experiences that were seared into our minds to help us out dealing with things in the current. Other scholars believe that happy episodic memories function as a kind of emotional analgesic when the present is difficult. So, according to psychologist Clay Rutledge, he said nostalgia is a psychological resource that we use to help cope with negative emotions. And if present circumstances are distressing in some way, our minds tend to naturally drift to the past. Episodic memories don't have to be accurate to serve that purpose, which I think is really important to note. Psychologists have shown that false memories, for example, about experiencing something that may never have actually happened are extremely common and easy to provoke, which is why eyewitness testimonies and trials are so unreliable, especially after witnesses have been coached by attorneys. So what we do as people is we fictionalize the past and the future, but rarely the present, to make them seem better. False memories sometimes contain horrible traumas that did not occur, but it often works the other way. And I am guilty of this. We edit our recollection to picture the past as more pleasant than it really was. This is a phenomenon called fading effect bias, which occurs because as our emotions about the past change, we tend to forget the bad parts of experiences faster than we forget the good. So one possible explanation is that we internalize the lessons we learned from a particular event only later on, so the benefit-cost ratio rises over time. We find it easier to look back on it positively as we age. Like, yeah, no shit. Like I think about dog days in football. Like
Yep.
when I played football in high school, dog days were where you had like 2 practices a day in the summer, in the fucking heat, and like during it, unless you are the stud of the team, which I wasn't, I was just like, this fucking sucks. And then immediately after, you're like, oh man, I miss that shit. I miss doing that shit. You forget about all the hard shit.
Yep.
You think about all the good shit.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to holidays and when it comes to Christmas, I feel like we're put in a super fucking tough position because as time goes on, we lose people. As
Yeah.
time goes on, we have more responsibilities. We have all of these other things that take away from what gave us so much joy as kids and add to the stressors of being an adult around the holidays, like gift giving, parties, all this other shit, traveling. Like there's so much shit you have to do around the holidays, and it just gets to you. And you sit there and think about, man, like when I was a kid, you know, it was so much better because we just did this or that. And it's so easy to get into that mindset. But I feel like that's why nostalgia again is like very, very scary to me. I don't
Yeah.
know. What's your opinion on that?
I agree. The biggest struggle that Amanda and I face is, like you said, we want Christmas to be how it was when we were kids. But when you bring in other traditions and other families and you can't, you just can't do that. Also, our son is born on Christmas, right? That's his birthday. So
No shit.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So now it's about him and his day. You know what I'm saying? So we can't get up in the morning and go to my sister's house or go to my mom's house and just totally forget our Christmas. You know what I mean? We have to make our own traditions now, and I think that's what we're doing.
How do you balance out between acknowledging and accepting like this is Christmas
Yep.
for the family,
Yep.
for your daughter, and also it's your son's birthday without taking away from like either one? Like, how do you balance that?
So we didn't this year, but we'll typically do a birthday party for my son before, the holiday season, before the big rush.
Yeah.
But usually on Christmas Day, what we'll do is we'll do Christmas in the morning, right? Most of the afternoon, Christmas. Boom, evening hits, birthday cake. We're having birthday dinner, whatever he wants for dinner.
Cool.
People are coming over to celebrate his birthday. Like, so it's kind of like you get the best of both. I mean, he hasn't complained about it yet, so I mean, it's working.
It's nice that he knows that he gets to experience this is Christmas,
Yeah.
and then he also gets to experience his birthday.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the least you could do, Like,
Oh, yeah. No, my grandma was also born on Christmas. She
Yeah.
was born on Christmas and died on the 4th of July like a fucking boss.
Get
like,
outta here.
Nope. But yeah, so that's very cool. So yeah, nostalgia. You want to sit here and make this tradition, or you want to make this Christmas like the Christmas you had when you were a kid, but it's fucking impossible.
Yeah.
It's literally impossible.
Yep.
You're setting yourself up for failure if you do, but by creating new traditions, like that's the most beneficial thing you can do, because now you're creating those moments for your kids, which I think is super important. One of the other contributing factors, and this is my favorite contributing factor to the holiday blues. Also, this is according to that same article in Scientific American. Sultan Tarlaki, a professor of medicine at Üsküdar University in Turkey, takes very serious the many worlds hypothesis, which I'm a huge fan of, which holds that all possibilities described by quantum equations are realized in other universes branching off of ours. In a 2019 paper in Journals of Psychopathology, Tarlaki speculated that hallucinations plaguing people with schizophrenia stem from intrusions of other worlds into ours. And he said this effect could also explain experiences of healthy people, such as the words, images, or music that suddenly pop into our consciousness seemingly out of nowhere. He thinks that parallel universes account for our mood swings, thought swerves. He talks about like a hidden variables theory, and all that other kind of stuff. And so it's possible that if you're going through the holiday blues, it's because there's a you in another dimension
Yeah.
who's fucking just not doing great, just not having a good day. So I don't know what you're going to do about that, but it's a possibility, which is my favorite possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't even like that. It seems pretty legit because if you think about it, dude, we are like a speck of dust in a giant vacuum, like inside of a bigger vacuum. You know what I mean? Like just the next closest galaxy I believe is like 4.5 billion light years away.
And like, can your human, and I say your isn't just anybody's human brain, even wrap their minds around what that means? Like, how far is 4.9 billion light years? Like, how fucking far is that?
So to put it in
You know what I mean?
perspective, I think the sun, I don't remember how far like light years away the sun is, but it takes 8 minutes for the light to get to Earth from the sun.
Mhm.
8 minutes. The next closest star is like 4 billion or something like that. So it takes even longer. Like it's the perspective in light years is there's no, and the best part is we'll never know. We will never know.
I'm way too stupid
Yeah,
to
well.
understand any of that bullshit. Like the title of this article was "Can Quantum Mechanics Quell the Holiday Blues?" And I'm like, I'm going to try to read this. Like, why not? You know what I mean? I'm like a caveman banging rocks together.
I'm pretty impressed that you even. I'm pretty impressed that you even like said the title right. I mean, I wouldn't even.
I'm a big like. I've tried to like teach myself because I'm that fucking dumb. Like I'm like I'll just teach myself quantum mechanics because there's like some free courses that you can take online, and I've read a couple of books and stuff just trying to get into it. But like the multi-universe theory and all that other kind of stuff is so fun. And so the fact that like somebody wrote this article, it was John Horgan wrote this for the Scientific American about there's a possibility that maybe there's another fucking universe where you're not doing great, and that's why you feel sad around the holidays. And I'm like, all right, dude, that's a pretty fucking I mean, maybe.
I mean, just hearing that makes this universe me feel a little bit less sad. So maybe it helps out that universe me.
So yeah, I thought that was a good one. So make sure that all the parallel dimensions and universes that you exist in, make sure that they're all doing good too. Send them some Christmas cards or something. So the other thing that I found from like more of a scientific perspective, and you can also check out the Mental Health Mondays with Melanie, where she talks about this seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which is, that's not a great acronym for it. I mean, I guess that's the best acronym for it, but it's like, I'm sad. I got sad. In the DSM-5, it is identified as a type of depression. And on what I found from the National Institute of Mental Health, pull this up here. So seasonal affective disorder, many people go through short periods of time where they feel sad or not like their usual selves. Sometimes these moods change, and those changes begin and end when the seasons change. People may start to feel down when the days get shorter in the fall or winter, called the winter blues, and begin to feel better in the spring with longer daylight hours. Like, yeah, when you go outside and it's 4:30 and it's fucking pitch black out, you're just like, ugh.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just, you don't feel great.
No.
In some cases, these mood changes are more serious and can affect how a person feels, thinks, and handles daily activities. If you've noticed significant changes in your mood and behavior, you may be, like if you've noticed those changes whenever the seasons change, you may be suffering from seasonal affective disorder, which is that type of depression. Now, one thing I noticed, sad symptoms start in the late fall, early winter, go away during the spring. Now, I know that correlation does not imply causation, but, You know what also happens between then and then?
What's it? Weight
Fucking
gain?
Chicago Bears season.
Oh, jeez.
I think I'm not saying that, and I know it's like football in general, but like I feel like there's a correlation there between seasonal affective depression, and being a Chicago Bears fan, because we talked about this the other fucking day too.
We did.
And it's so frustrating. And I have a lot of the symptoms of major depression that go with SAD are feeling depressed most of the day, especially on Sundays or whenever the Bears play, nearly every day. Losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, experiencing changes in appetite or weight, having problems with sleep, feeling sluggish, agitated, having low energy, feeling hopelessness or worthless, having difficulty concentrating, having frequent thoughts of death or suicide. For winter pattern SAD, additional specific symptoms include oversleeping, overeating, social withdrawal, weight gain. Specific symptoms for summer pattern SAD include trouble sleeping, poor appetite, weight loss, restlessness, agitation, anxiety, episodes of violent behavior. So there is and that is, SAD is recognized in the DSM-5. So, I mean, if you think that you or someone you know might be experiencing it, then I would absolutely tell you to go talk to a professional to find out. They might have you fill out specific questionnaires to determine if your symptoms meet the criteria for SAD. But to be diagnosed with SAD, a person must meet the following criteria. You have to have symptoms of major depression, or the more specific symptoms that we just mentioned earlier. The depressive episodes must occur during specific seasons for at least 2 consecutive years. However, not all people with SAD do experience the symptoms every year, but the episodes must be much more frequent than other depressive episodes that the person may have had at other times of the year during their lifetime. As far as like who develops and what causes it, millions of Americans suffer from SAD, although many may not know that they actually have it. It occurs more often in women than men, and it's more common in those living in the farther north, like Chicago, where there are shorter daylight hours in the winter. For example, people living in like Alaska or New England may be more likely to develop it than being in Florida. But yeah, dude, like, you feel better when it's sunny out. Like, fucking yeah, man.
I think that's why I never met an angry person when I lived in Okinawa.
Really?
Not one.
I've never been there.
It's incredible.
Really?
Everybody's so happy.
Well, you think about countries that are close to like the equator, like the Philippines. When I was in the Philippines, a lot of like just happy, like welcoming, warm people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But then you go to like, Russia. Motherfuckers are riding bears and stuff. And they got like 6-year-old kids out there building igloos. You're just like, what the fuck? Like it for sure. There's something there between, like, we need the sunlight.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
And so I think that that's a huge factor in it too.
Yeah.
Like just as much of a factor as being a fucking Chicago Bears fan. So some other causes, while scientists don't fully understand the causes, the research indicates that people with SAD may have reduced activity of the brain chemical serotonin, which helps regulate your mood. Research also suggests that sunlight controls the level of molecules that help maintain normal serotonin levels. So that's why the sunlight is so beneficial, because it controls the level of molecules in your body that help maintain those levels. So in people with SAD, the regulation doesn't function properly, which results in decreased serotonin levels in the winter. Other findings have suggested that people with SAD produce too much melatonin, which is a hormone that is central for maintaining the normal sleep-wake cycle. Overproduction of melatonin can increase that sleepiness. So deficits in vitamin D may also exacerbate these problems, because vitamin D is believed to promote serotonin activity. In addition to vitamin D consumed with diet, the body produces vitamin D when it's exposed to sunlight on the skin. So with less daylight in the winter, people with SAD may have lower vitamin D levels, which might hinder further serotonin activity. So, like, I don't know about you, like, do you get blood panels and stuff done?
No, but I can attest to the vitamin D thing.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, actually, because I worked in the chow hall so much, like, we would go to work, it was dark. We would leave work, it was dark, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I went to the medical and they're like, they did the blood work and they noticed my vitamin D levels were low. Dude, they prescribed me 50,000 milligram pills. I would take one a week.
50,000 milligrams. Isn't like
50,000 milligrams.
And they measure it in like IUs or whatever the fuck. Yeah, okay.
No idea.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking. Because
It was like this big, and it looked like it was like a giant gel pill. And I took one a week for like 9 weeks. Holy shit balls, dude!
Just like
I felt like a ball of sunshine
you
walking around.
You just ingested a little nuclear reactor. Or
I think so. It was awesome.
I had the same issue. I had a vitamin D deficiency. My primary care physician recommended me to take vitamin D, so I started taking that. And yeah, it was like 5,000 IUs or whatever the fuck it was, and I was taking that for a while, and that was really beneficial. Vitamin D is one of the treatments available to help people that have SAD. In addition to that, there's also light therapy, psychotherapy, and antidepressant medications, which obviously, again, like vitamin D and light therapy, that's the whole, you need the sunlight. You got to be outside. Yep. You got to be doing something in the winter months. It's really hard because you don't have any of that. So now as far as other contributing factors on the civilian side.
Yep.
So like we talked about earlier, okay, the holidays are getting fucking insane now, I feel. Yep. And again, maybe I'm wrong just because I'm growing up and I'm seeing things from a different perspective. But like, I just feel like things were more simple like 30 years ago. And again, I was a kid 30 years ago.
There also wasn't Amazon 30 years ago.
Dude, okay. We have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like Giving Tuesday, fucking Whiskey Wednesday. I don't know. I made that last one up, but it should be a thing. Like, there's all of these things that are financial stressors on top of all the gift giving you're doing, the parties that you have to throw, the traveling you might have to do, like all that other shit. So, like, from a financial perspective, it's like that in and of itself is so stressful around the holiday season.
Yep.
God forbid something goes wrong on your car before the winter hits, and you got to, and that's another. That's another thing that you have to do. Like, I feel like the financial stressors are the biggest one of the biggest contributing factors. I
did find about the financial stressors. This was also on the article I was talking about on the military.com, but like the civilian side.
Yep.
It also contributes to, they don't worry about the financial stressors until they see their credit card statement middle of January. And then they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? Because at the time you're like, oh, I got to get this for this person. I got to get that for that person. They'll love this. And you're not thinking about it. You're just swipe, 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 swipe. Next thing you know, mid-January, you get that $8,000 credit card bill or whatever. And you're like, oh shit, now what?
And what's so interesting about that is, according to Big Think, one thing that I found was, there's a Christmas suicide myth where people think that suicide is typically higher around Christmas time. And so according to Big Think, they said far from it, that is far from the truth. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show that the last 2 months of the year also have the lowest suicide rate, presumably because family gatherings prevent or at least delay many attempts. Instead, the real seasonal spike happens in January, like you said. You know what I mean? Like when the holidays are kind of over, and like you said, the bill hits you, all that other shit. So that's interesting that you found that too, because that totally makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, also, especially depending on like a whole host of factors, they cope with the stress by shopping.
Yep.
They show their love language is by gift giving or whatever the case may be, and it can put you through that, and like stress spending during the holidays, it can put you in a really fucking scary place.
I think it really is a real problem. Like, I know some people are like, oh, that's just control it. Just stop spending money. Some people can't. You know what I mean? Some people, that is like their vitamin D. They just spend money and they get that, what would be equivalent to standing in sunlight.
And I think we could get like a whole episode on just like shopping addiction.
Oh yeah.
And things like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I understand that there's a huge focus on consumerism around Christmas. Like, I get it. And when I was younger, not even as a kid, but like in my 20s, Like, I didn't mind Black Friday. It was almost kind of fun because, like, for me, it was because I didn't have a bunch of shit that I had to buy. And, like, I would go out with a couple of my buddies. We would have a couple, like I need to shop for Ashley. I need to shop for my parents. And I'd have that in mind. And then we would just kind of go out and be hanging out with all these people in the cold. And I don't know, it wasn't, like, terrible. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's just, like, the infantry in me. It's like,
Yeah.
I miss being outside in the cold.
Yeah.
Surrounded by a bunch of people. But I didn't feel like it was that terrible. But now, like, everywhere you turn, it's like, if it's not one of those days like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, it's like pre-Black Friday deals and all this other shit. And I'm like, okay, so at what point is it even a fucking deal anymore? Like, it's just so much. And, you know, with that, like you said, and with Amazon and everything, like our Amazon delivery driver, my wife are like BFFs. Like, he comes over for coffee sometimes. Like, he fucking knows us.
I'm pretty sure he stops by our house too. I think every day I get an email, package has been delivered. A package has been delivered. I'm like, what is this?
I get more surprised when, like, nothing comes for a couple of days. Like, I'm waiting for the Amazon driver to pull up, like, hey, Eric, like, what's up, dude? I haven't delivered anything the past couple of days, man. I just want to make sure you guys are okay. You know, he's like, is everybody good? You guys good? So, yeah.
Your UPS guy does regular wellness checks on you.
Fucking, that's my life, dude. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things that contribute to the holiday blues. In addition to those things, just all of the obligations that somebody has now. Like, I didn't feel like there were this many Christmas parties before, but you have all these other obligations. And one thing that I found, I want to pull up this quote too. Okay, so one reason for the holiday blues is because holiday preparations are so stressful, and the holiday rarely meets the idealistic expectations promoted by the media and other things. So, like, yeah, dude. So you have all these, like, if you're hosting a party, hosting is fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
Like, everybody knows. So if I show up to a party that somebody else is hosting, I feel like I'm pretty considerate about that because I know it's stressful to host.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you want to make sure that everybody else is having such a good time, and per that quote, it rarely meets the idealistic expectations that we think it is.
Yep.
And if we're just more mindful in the moment and just understanding, like, hey, like, I'm here with people I care about, man. It's okay if we don't have a billion games going on, or if the kids are running around acting crazy, like, it's okay because I'm here in the moment.
And I think in turn, when doing that also minimizes your stress because, like you said, when you're in the moment, you actually get to enjoy yourself too. Because, again, I've been doing, like, a lot of meditating lately, and that's one of the things I've been practicing on is being in the moment. And doing that, it's night and day. Like, my mood, everything, it really is.
Well, and I think that's because you're understanding that you don't have to focus on the past. Like, you learn from the past. It's important to learn from the past, but you're not sitting there dedicating all of this intellectual bandwidth to focusing on it. You're more concentrated on the moment that you're dealing with right in front of you, which is what you should be doing. And so, again, with nostalgia and everything else, if you're, like, constantly comparing everything to this perfect Christmas that you had in 1998 or whatever the fuck it was, like, you're setting yourself up for failure, because then you're also missing out on the moments that you're having right now, which are beautiful. You're just not accepting them as that because you're constantly comparing it to that. Or, like, again, the idealistic expectations promoted by the media. You watch any commercial that's like a holiday commercial or whatever, or like drug commercials are the same way, where it's like it's a drug commercial and they're always smiling and, like, playing tennis. You're like, this is a fucking IBS commercial, dude. Like, what the fuck? But, like, when it comes to that, I think about we talked about at the very end of the last episode, our favorite Christmas movies. And when you think about it, my favorite Christmas movies are all, like, Christmases where, like, shit's going wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like none of them are like the Hallmark Christmas movies where like, girl moves back to the city because her busy life is too busy and, like, everything is great and they have a great storybook Christmas or whatever. Like, I'm not a fan of those types.
Like the Hallmark Channel?
Yeah.
I can't.
No, dude.
I can't. Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to be cognizant of that and understand that you are making a new moment right now. You're making new traditions, like you said, and you just, while it's great to look back at those memories and have those memories, like, you don't need to be comparing your current situation to those memories. Because again, based on what I was talking about when it comes to nostalgia and everything like that, like it's a fucking shitty place to put yourself in.
It really is.
You know. Now, as far as like the veteran side is concerned, so I've missed a fucking bunch of holidays, and you've missed some too. And you were talking about beating. Like, what were you talking about when you were in the Marines? Because you missed. How many Christmases did you miss?
So my first Christmas I missed, I was in boot camp. So I think 3 before I had my family with me.
Yep.
So the boot camp one was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been religious, but on Christmas and boot camp, I found God real quick.
Bro, let me tell you, there's a lot of people that aren't religious, but when you go to boot camp in general, you go to church on Sunday. You know why?
It's the only time you get a break.
It's the only time you get a break.
Yep.
Because one, Fort Benning, Georgia, I went to Pentecostal church because they always had food on Sunday. And if you didn't go to church, you had to clean the barracks.
Yep.
So do you want to find God or do you want to clean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So hallelujah.
Yep.
So
there was that one.
Yeah.
And then the next Christmas was the Call of Duty Christmas that I talked about in previous episode, where nobody went home because we couldn't afford it because Japan, it's not a cheap ticket. So everyone in the barracks, all the cooks, we all had the PlayStation 4 online. We were just playing Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty chill. And then the next Christmas, same thing, but my unit started doing this called Beating the Blues, like the mandatory fun, like better go or
mandatory fun is one of my favorite phrases from the military. But anyway, continue.
I mean, they would do like games, and it would kick off with we would do a run around the base in like Santa and elf uniforms or whatever. Like, of course.
Right.
And then you'd go to the gym or wherever they had it, and it felt like a middle school pep rally assembly. Except the prizes they gave were like they were giving away like Xboxes and stuff to kind of cover up the fact that like, hey, you're not with your family on Christmas, but hey, here's a brand new Xbox. I never won anything, like whatever. But it's just the fact that like, hey, you have to go to this. Go have fun.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah, it's weird because like I was in Afghanistan for the Christmas of 2008. I was in Iraq for Christmas of 2011 and I think 2012. And then I think I was in Afghanistan again for one of the next Christmases. And so like in the military it was a little different than contracting just because, and for a lot of us, it was our first deployment together.
Yeah.
And like and I can never stress this enough, like the fucking best part about a care package is getting like letters from kids and stuff, right?
Yes.
And so we would get Christmas care packages and they would come with all these cards and letters from like kids and that kind of stuff, you know, in a care package, you could send somebody anything. And of course, they're going to appreciate the material items.
Absolutely.
But like the fucking point of a care package is to care. And like, how do you show somebody you care? Not necessarily with material goods, but it's with like those sentimental things.
Yep.
So like I'd saved, and I'm fucking almost positive that I have every card, picture, anything that a kid ever sent me when I was overseas. Like I still got all that shit. And we got all that around Christmas, so that was good. I remember I got Christmas lights and I was in I had this shitty little room. I decorated my room and everything, and I shared it with one other dude. And like I remember on Christmas, it seems like it would be depressing, but it wasn't for me because I was surrounded by my brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was thousands of miles away from fucking home, which sucked. And like, there's nothing that was going to replace that or make me feel better about it. But the fact that I was around my brothers still made me feel like I was okay and still having a decent Christmas.
Yep.
So like, we went and, you know, we all ate dinner together and all that other. We had to go on a mission on fucking Christmas Day, which I'll never forget, to tell a bunch of Afghan people Merry Christmas, which is fine. It's just, that's not their religion. So I was just like, why are we doing this, man? We're going to get fucking blown up on Christmas, telling people who don't believe in Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fucking shitty way to spend my Christmas. But after that, like, that was a lot of fun, just spending it with those guys. And then when I was a contractor, it was still really tough, and I tried to pass the time by, like, I didn't lose the Christmas spirit, and that I would still decorate my room. Like, I don't give a fuck. I would find Christmas lights, Christmas decorations, a Christmas tree, and I would watch Christmas movies. And then, sometimes the other guys, we would like buy each other a fucking gift from the Haji shop down the street or something. Like we would try to carry on some of our traditions, which was really cool. And then just, again, being with other people, not being alone is the only help that I was going to find when I was deployed. You know what I mean? Because being alone, I think, is also it's also a huge contributor, again, to the holiday blues, is just being alone. And so that was kind of hard when I came home again, like not feeling like I was surrounded by all those guys, even though I'm with my family now. But it's just, it creates that weird, I don't know, like accordion effect. Did you kind of get that too?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was, I mean, like I said, we played Call of Duty on Christmas, but that was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. But then again, am I falling guilty to what the fuck we just talked about earlier, where I'm, seeing all the good and not any of the bad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a little bit of that too.
Sure.
But as long as you are focused on those fundamental tenets of like not feeling alone and giving and creating new traditions and being mindful, like that helps you not feel the holiday blues.
Yeah. And I think it's easier for people not in those situations to get into the holiday blues because they don't have that. You're with your family, but they don't have that real camaraderie. They're not that brotherhood that you get in the military. You know what I mean? And I think some people do.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's so commercialized, like you said, and it's so, everyone's just hustle and bustle. Dude, they don't slow down and take the time to actually enjoy the time with your family.
I agree. And when you're overseas, like, you're all in the same position in that you're all missing Christmas together, which means you're all going through this mutual struggle together. So you can take some solace in one another because you're going through it together. Again, you're not alone. Struggling with another group of people hits whole lot of different than just struggling through something on your fucking own.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, yeah, no, I think that's a really good point too. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that as far as fixing the holiday blues is concerned, the most important thing is, just like anything else, you acknowledge it.
Yep.
Like you can't just suppress it and suppress and like not fucking talk about it. Like you just gotta know, like, okay, I'm sad. Okay, well, why am I sad? Like for me, I'm feeling the holiday blues, dude, because my fucking mom isn't here. And that sucks.
Yeah.
So I've had plenty of moments, especially I think getting closer to Christmas, where I've had a harder time, where I've just like taken some time and just like needed to cry, needed to do whatever. And like I've definitely felt that quite a bit.
Yep.
And again, like I've said before, I know that I can't run from it. Like I can't. And I just have to be aware of it to myself. And I have to talk to myself about it. Like, okay, I'm feeling sad. This is why I'm feeling sad. And then move forward from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. You know, it's crazy, dude. I had an experience. I was hypnotized once.
Yeah.
Just recently.
Yeah.
And there was a point during the hypnosis where the person doing the hypnotizing, he was like, you see a figure coming towards you. You don't know who it is, but as they get closer, they get more clear. It could be someone you know. It could be someone totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it was my dad. And I could hug him.
Yeah.
I could smell him. I felt him. It was the craziest thing, dude. And then we sat on a bench together. And the first thing he said to me is, it's okay.
Oh,
he said, It's okay. And having that moment, since I've had that moment, yes, I miss my dad very much. But it's like a sense of ease came over me. And yes, this holiday, it sucks without him. But he's here still. You know what I mean?
And you were carrying this burden that you've talked about because of like how everything happened with your dad, how he passed. You felt like you didn't do this, that, the other, whatever. And that's validation. The validation you need cannot be given to you by anybody on this fucking plane of existence outside of your father, right?
Yep.
And so to be able to have that moment, like that's what you needed to know that it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
That was a surreal experience, man. And it's cool because I'm training myself to get back to that where I can see my dad again. So I know it is okay.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, and again, I am not particularly religious. It's totally fine, obviously, to anybody that is. I do believe that I'm fairly spiritual, and I definitely feel that my mom is around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so much shit's happened. Like, dude, I think did I tell you the fucking cornstarch story?
No.
Okay, so right after my mom passed, my mom was a big cook. And the whole thing with my mom cooking was like she would make shit up out of nowhere on the fly and it'd be delicious. And she was just really, really good at like critical thinking in that type of environment. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fucking cook something for myself. And my dad had some extra shrimp that he didn't use that was left over from something he made with my mom. And he said, hey, do you want these? I'm like, yeah. So I took them and I found this article for this garlic soy like shrimp recipe. I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking give this a shot. So I start cooking and I'm looking at everything. I'm like, yeah, I think I got everything. And I start cooking and then I get to this part in the recipe where it says I need cornstarch. I'm like, fuck, I don't have cornstarch. Like, I know I didn't buy any. I've never bought any. So I go through my cabinet and dude, in the far back of my cabinet, there was a little butter container because that's how my mom rolled. And it had a piece of tape over it. And in her handwriting, it said cornstarch. And I'm like, dude, cool, man. So add to the list of things you never thought were going to make you cry and add a fucking butter container with a piece of tape across it that says cornstarch. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like shit like that happens and I don't just breeze past it.
No.
I sit there and I think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, dude, she's still here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's very important to acknowledge that if you have lost a loved one going into the holiday season, if you have one of those fucking moments, like where you see your dad, where I found that, like whatever, you take a second and you're like, hey, like that person is still here. That person's energy is still here.
Yep.
And it's still following me and it's still with me everywhere I go, which I
Yep.
think is super fucking important.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as far as how to fix the holiday blues outside of acknowledging it
And mandatory fun.
and mandatory fun, fucking mandatory fun is talking to somebody. So reaching out, talking to somebody, again, to fight the loneliness aspect. So if you know that you're having the holiday blues, try to figure out why, and then try to have a conversation with somebody you care about to try to like just get it off your chest. Talk about it a little bit. It always feels better when you talk shit out. It just fucking does. Like you get over that initial hurdle of feeling vulnerable and not wanting to talk about it. And then you start talking about it and you're like, holy fuck, okay, I feel better now.
So when you say talk it out in your research, do you mean with a professional or like with a buddy, just like anybody?
So from what I saw initially, I think, I mean, it depends on the situation, right? I can't just give you a blanket statement, but I would say if you feel like you are dealing with the holiday blues, you acknowledge what's going on, you have that conversation with yourself, and then you try to talk to a loved one. And then if you need to, then you seek professional help. Back to that scientific article, that article on Scientific American by John Horgan. One thing he said in it, which I thought was good, because he was talking about how he was dealing with the holiday blues. And he said, if you're dealing with the holiday blues, you also have to say to yourself, like, am I always sad? Because probably not.
Right.
Like, you're not always sad. You have these moments where you're sad, but you also have these moments where you're incredibly happy. And he was like, and he asked in there, are you sad when you decorate the tree with your kids? Are you sad when you're toasting with your family, when you're wrapping presents for a loved one? Like, odds are probably not. Like, you have these moments where you're like, fuck, this sucks. I miss my mom. Like, everything costs a shit ton of money. Like, Chicago Bears keep fucking losing. But there's still things that you can be really happy about. Where, when I'm in those moments with my kids, when I'm listening to my kids singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or like whatever, like I can't deny the happiness I feel in that fucking moment either. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So again, you have to try to be mindful. Yeah. And then calling back to that article in The Atlantic, the solution is not to change the present. However, it is to rely less on the past in the future. So in other words, secret to a great holiday, the whole fucking theme, I feel like for this show, most episodes, is being mindful.
Yep.
Is being mindful. And being mindful is a set of habits that help you stay conscious of the current moment instead of being distracted by memories of the past and projection into the future. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like we were at the Christmas party, the fat Christmas party, and dude, my kids were the worst behaved kids, like out of all the kids. There were like 30 kids there. Cece, who's 2, was running around the holiday party saying, God damn it. She was running around saying that, which, by the way, she didn't hear from me. She heard from her uncle because they were trying to put together a gingerbread house.
I was there when that happened.
And it didn't go so well. And my uncle and her uncle was like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And he said, God damn it. And so then Cece is running around and there's Santa Claus. And she's just like, God damn it, God damn it. And she was singing Jingle Bells, Mommy Smells. And she was just running in a loop. And so that's daughter 1. Daughter 2 somehow face planted into a fucking gingerbread house. She has all of this stuff all over her face, and she was randomly screaming when I had to get up and give a speech. And so I'm just sitting there going like, I'm a great fucking dad right now, right? Like I just feel like a great dad. And again, even in those moments, I have to like tell myself because it's so chaotic, and that's what ramps up my anxiety times 1,000.
Yep.
Is when you have your kids in a public place,
Yep.
and then they start acting up, and you're just like, oh my God. And last night I was at another Christmas party, same thing. Both of my kids were just tired from the day. And when they start getting tired, they start crying and whining, and we had to leave early. And like, it's so easy to let those moments for me really stress me out and kind of put me down.
I agree. But if you look at them, dude, those moments don't last forever. And there's going to come a point where your kids won't even talk to you and they won't go to the events with you and they're not going to do that stuff with you. So, as crazy as they get and as much anxiety as it does cause, because I've been there too, where it causes like, oh, I'm embarrassed. Like people are watching me. Oh, yeah. Who cares? It doesn't matter because I know I'm not going to get this time back with my kids. And
and it also creates the memories that you're going to look fondly on in the future, which we talked about earlier, because you're going to look at it better. And you're going to be like, remember when Cece was 2 and ran around the Christmas party saying, God damn it, like, and you're going to look at it and laugh a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, trying to be mindful is something that it's easy to say.
Yes.
And sometimes it's easy to do initially, but I think the hard part is maintaining. I think the hardest part is, because I became familiar with being mindful actually through a psychology class that I took a few years ago. And that's where I was introduced to Thich Nhat Hanh initially in that book, You Are Here, which is phenomenal, and a couple other books. And my issue is that, I just forget. Yeah. I just forget to be fucking mindful sometimes. So I have to continue to remind myself about that.
And like most things in life, that's the easy way. People like to take the easy way, the comfortable way, the way that's not going to. It's weird meditating and trying to get into, in your, like connecting your unconscious and your conscious mind. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. Like you do it the first couple times, you're like, this is what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
But then you see results and you put what you hear into practice.
Yeah.
And dude, it's such a major shift. I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I still, you know what I mean? I get in those moments, but like I said, I am able to, through meditation and through things like that, I'm able to bring myself back into the moment. And it's been one of the most life-changing experiences that I've ever had.
Well, and if you're not meditating, you're going through the motions of life.
Yep.
And at what point does your conscious and subconscious or whatever get to talk to each other for a second? Like you're just going through the motions of life. You are fucking busy. Yeah. Your body is trying to catch up to everything. Yep. You're worried about, you're going from one obligation to the next, and you never have a fucking second to yourself to just take a breath and think about where you're at and how thankful you should be.
Yeah.
Like mindfulness for me, the easiest way for me to get into meditation was, again, per Thich Nhat Hanh, like doing walking meditations. Like that I love doing. So I can go to Perry Farm by us at State Park and just go take a walk and just think about. So what he would say is I'm stepping with my right foot. I'm stepping with my left foot. I'm breathing in, breathing out. And he would like do that. And so like I'll do that shit. And I'm like, oh man, this is super fucking beneficial. It's like, I'm just saying, if you do that by yourself, I'm telling you, like, you're not going to feel worse when you're done. You're just not. You'll be done. And you can do it for like 10 minutes. And you're like, I feel better now. That was the type of meditation that worked for me. And the other type of meditation, like I told you, for me, conventional or not, is being in the gym.
Yep.
Like it is putting my headphones on and having nothing else exist outside of these four walls. And it's just me and whatever the fuck I'm picking up and putting down.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's the type of meditation that works for me.
Dude, it's crazy. I got up, randomly, like 4:45 in the morning, meditated for like 15 minutes. Best start to my day I've ever had, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And now I do it every morning. Every single morning.
And it takes what? 27 days to make it a habit, buddy. How long you been doing it for?
It's been about a week now.
Fuck yeah, I got to keep that shit rolling.
I wake up, first thing I do is meditate. I'll do a midday meditation. I'll meditate before I go to bed.
I like that.
And it's just...
I think at the end of the day, too. Yeah. In the morning and then at the end of the day, those are extremely important for sure. But doing it 3 times a day makes a lot of sense to me.
I do the midday one just to recenter myself and focus on like kind of get an energy boost and just bring myself and make sure that I am bringing myself in the moment instead of worrying about what's next. What am I going to do now? You know what I mean?
For you, are you sitting in silence? You laying down?
So I sit, in the mornings I'll sit up, like upright with my back against the couch. And then the midday and the evening ones, I would say more in like a prone position, laying down. And yeah, it just kickstarts my day, man. Gets me Dude, I have practiced meditation so much. I fell asleep getting a tattoo yesterday. Like I've never fallen asleep getting a tattoo, and I was in such a comfortable and peaceful state. I fell asleep.
Yeah. And I can see that depending on like the placement of the tattoo, if it's not hitting any bone, when you hear that humming of the tattoo gun, like I get that for sure. Because if you can get into such a comfortable place and you're just you're not stressing about anything, you're just pretty clear headed, like the hum of that gun will just slowly, I think knock you out. You know, if you're in a comfortable position.
Yeah, it was. I was on my stomach. I've never had. I was just on my stomach, so I've never had. I've been laying on my stomach while I got a tattoo.
It's similar. I feel like it's kind of similar to getting a massage because, like, I could get a deep tissue massage and like kind of knock out during the massage, and it's like deep, so it's like hurting a little bit, but because of the rhythm, because of the atmosphere, the vibe, the fact that I just feel very clear-headed, like it's just not bothering me like it normally would. So
and a big thing, if like, and I know people think meditation, they think of like sitting down and how. Nah, dude, it's just breathing. Focusing on your breathing and just, like I said, connecting your subconscious and your conscious and like your body and just connecting everything together.
Yeah, just whatever works for you. And I feel like you have to take a moment again to just be by yourself and reflect on yourself because you're not doing that during the day. Like I said, obligation to obligation. You're running and gunning. You're doing shit all day, every day. And like, even when you're sleeping, you're fucking dreaming about work. Like, yo, dude, you need to give yourself a minute to just process some shit, you know?
And it intensifies during the holidays. I got to get this gift. I got to do this dinner. I got to make this, that, and that. I got to clean this. I got to do that. It intensifies. So now on top of the normal stressors, work, this, that, and the third, you now have the holiday stressors.
Yeah.
So for everybody listening, highly recommend just give meditation a shot. It might be weird and uncomfortable at first, but I promise you it is well worth it.
No, and I think that's something that you can do really anywhere. And there was something that I heard that was really interesting by, he's a comedian and an actor. His name's Russell Brand, and he has a podcast too. And I think he's a really interesting guy to listen to. But one of the things that he talks about being mindful, and it kind of calls back to what I was talking about earlier about maintaining. He talks about, and this is like an interview with Joe Rogan or something, I can't remember. But he talked about how if you're going to be mindful, it's easy to be mindful when you're in your bedroom by yourself. But he goes, but when you're stuck in traffic, if you're stuck in traffic and it's stop and go, or you've been stalled for like 30 minutes, those are also the times where you have to be mindful. You have to tell yourself in that moment, like, hey, you know what? I'm stuck here for a few minutes. You know what I could do? Meditate. You know what I mean? Like when he said that was something that was like a little nugget that stuck with me for a super long time, where And obviously, like you said, I'm not perfect. I have my fuck ups too. But like, if I'm stuck in positions like that where I'm waiting for a super long time, I'll say to myself, "Oh wait, hey, I can use this opportunity to reflect on some things. I'll use this opportunity to do a light meditation. I'll use this opportunity for one of those things instead of letting it emotionally fuck up my entire day."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yes, meditating is huge. A lot of different ways to do it. So it's definitely important for you to find out what works for you and just try to get in touch with that side of yourself a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Now the other thing I found also was which we sort of alluded to, excuse me, is the post-holiday blues.
Yes.
So the post-holiday blues comes after the holidays, post-holiday. Happens for an amalgamation of reasons, many of which we just discussed. The holidays are over. You spent a shit ton of money and the
Yep.
credit card bill came, family all leaves, and now you're back being alone. Post-holiday blues is a thing. Again, that's why the suicide rate per the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show that's where the spike is of suicide. As far as like the season is concerned, the spike does not happen in November or December. It happens in January. So it's important to be cognizant of that.
Yep. And I also think it's because it's colder, right? It gets a
Yep.
lot nastier.
Yep.
And my wife and I were just talking. There's nothing good there's holidays and stuff, but between January and the summer, it's such a long time. But you know what I mean? There's like nothing to look forward to where it's like Thanksgiving. Oh, Christmas is right around the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you hit January and it's like, well, shoot, now what?
Yeah.
So
Bears are like fucking 3 and 14 or whatever the fuck they are. It's
and then
what
you
are gonna
like
do?
wait till spring and then the Sox are like, you know?
Yeah, I know. But no, I mean, yeah, it's hard because you're going to be stuck inside.
Yep.
You know you're going to be dealing with the winter, and it's hazy and it's gray, and you're just waiting for the days to get a little bit longer.
You get that rain the rain, snow,
Just
slushy
have
crap.
Stuff to do outside. There's
Yeah.
just nothing to do outside, which is why it's like Illinois is tough.
Yeah.
Because Illinois, we get that slushy shit. When you
Yeah.
get farther north, it's like they're prepared for the winter. And whenever it's the winter season, that means you get to go snowmobiling and all this other stuff. Here, it's like you can maybe go ice skate, but you might fall into the lake. We don't know. We're going to go sledding, but not far from here. Fucking Poop Hill. Yeah, buddy. Did you ever go sledding at Poop Hill?
I went sledding on Poop Hill.
Back in... I get to date myself, and I'm leaning into this getting older thing. Back in my fucking day, I remember. Do you remember when we had metal sleds?
I'm not that old, dude.
You never had metal sleds?
I never had a metal sled, no.
Dude, we had metal sleds. You have some kid flying at Mach Jesus down one of these fucking hills in a metal sled. Last time, I'll never forget, my dad brought me to Poop Hill, and we went sledding, and there was a kid who was on a Chrysler car hood. He had a fucking car hood. He hit another kid. Kids were okay, but they had to get taken away by ambulance, and there was blood on the snow, and everybody was like, all right, well, just get some snow over that, and like, let's keep sledding. And I'm like, okay, fucking 90s was weird, man. Like,
jeez.
Metal sleds, dude. You never had a metal sled?
I don't know. I had like the Circle Plastic ones,
Oh, we had a metal circle sled.
Wow.
You would fucking fly.
Like
you would make it to the river.
Like a Spartan shield, like a...
More or less, yeah.
Jeez.
But, it was good stuff. So anyway, you find things to do to help with the holiday blues, to help with the post-holiday blues. I found an article in Psychology Today by Dr. Margaret Warenberg. The first thing that she said, just like how to deal with the holiday blues, talk to someone verbally, not texting. Big issue with post-holiday blues is feeling alone. So Dr. Warenberg says that it's very important that you call somebody that you care about and ask them about what the best part of their holiday was. And you just kind of talk about those things, and you talk about what's going on with you. Some other things that she said: get out of the house. Again, isolation is an easy place to kind of retreat to. Like, I'm guilty of it too, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to try to get yourself out of the house. And it's hard with the winter.
Yes.
It's hard with all the shit going on, but you got to try to find opportunities that will take you out of the house, even if it's only for a little bit. Even if it's just go to the coffee shop and sit in the coffee shop for a minute. Like, you got to try to get out of the house.
Absolutely.
Reread all the greeting cards that you get. That's another good one. Exercise. Exercise, just by the way, is like literally a solution to fucking like every mental health thing that's like ever existed.
I would
pretty
agree
much.
with
Like,
that.
go exercise.
Go pick some heavy shit up and put it back down.
Yeah, buddy.
Go walk on a treadmill.
Just
Anything.
do something because you feel like you accomplished something and you did it yourself. Cooking. So I thought that was a interesting point that she made. She said, cook things that fall outside of the realm of the holiday food. It kind of stimulates your brain to think about other shit, which makes sense. You know, you get in the holiday vibe and you're all about cooking that type of stuff. Your house smells like holiday food. Like, it's important to also do some different things to get yourself out of that mindset. And then if you're watching TV, stop watching all of the holiday shit.
Yes.
Just start getting back to other things, which I also thought was pretty good. Do you deal with the post-holiday blues ever?
I used to get into the mindset of I only dealt with the post-holiday blues because I was one of those people that's like, oh, January 1st, going to the gym, getting new year, new me.
Yep.
Right. And then it got to a point where I was like, oh, new year, same old chubby Brad. And then I would just because I would get mad at myself. Like, I'm not sticking with this.
Yeah.
I just paid all this money for a gym membership. I'm not going. I'm not eating better. I haven't done anything different. So why do I keep doing this to myself?
Yep.
Because I'm like, I sign up for all this, but I'm not seeing results. So I gave up on myself and I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I think that's really only other than that, man, just waiting for baseball season was kind of depressing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think I deal with the post-holiday blues like too much because I'm just like kind of focused on the next thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so other than that, do you have anything else you wanted to add about your thoughts on the holiday blues, what they are, how to get over them, how to deal with them, the post-holiday blues? No,
again, I know I sound like a broken record, but meditate. It really, really, dude, it's life-changing. And I don't know if any of the listeners out there, I feel like I sound a lot more chipper. I sound a lot different because I listened to previous episodes and dude, it's night and day, man.
Doing good.
I am. I'm doing real good.
And it's also possible that Brad in another universe is just doing a lot worse and it's giving you the opportunity to do a lot better. No, wait. Brad in another universe might be doing a lot better.
Yep.
Which is contributing to you doing a lot better.
That could be.
I fucking hope other universe Eric's doing pretty good.
I think he's doing all right.
Doing pretty good. Yeah. So remember, if you have the holiday blues, nostalgia can be a real fucking killer. You cannot get down on yourself. You have to try to be mindful. Some traditions end, but you can start new ones.
Absolutely.
And it also could be because of another fucking universe version of you. So if that's the case, there's nothing you can do anyway. I had a pretty good feel-good story to share, but my computer is frozen. So we're going to figure this out together because I have another feel-good story that I kind of wanted to share. If you were okay talking about it, I wanted to talk about what your goal is next year.
Yes.
For 2023.
2023. My goal is to start the Appalachian Trail.
Fuck yeah.
And hopefully, if all works out, I will go every summer for a couple days. And I will finish the Appalachian Trail from Georgia all the way to Maine.
2,200 miles, buddy.
2,200 miles.
We've been talking about this for
couple months now.
At least a couple of months.
Yep.
And why are you doing this?
Why am I doing it? For me. I'm doing this to show myself that I am worthy, that I am good enough, that just because I lost my vision, that doesn't mean shit.
That's right.
It doesn't mean anything. I am still, and it's that, and it's also an escape from my reality, I'll go, shit, I'm going to go out there and meditate. And if I'm being 100% honest with you.
Oh, fuck yeah. In the woods and the mountains. Yeah, it's a perfect place.
Group of dudes, man. It'll bring me back to the military feeling. So my plan is to get a box of MREs and just, MREs and protein bars.
Yeah, dude. And what I'm excited about. So what we're going to be doing next year, Project Headspace and Timing is going to work towards sending Brad out to the Appalachian Trail where he will slowly but surely over the course of however long he decides, hike the whole motherfucking thing. We're going to bring a team of guys out there, some of his friends and loved ones, and a team full of veterans just to support him and fucking cheer him on the whole time. Make sure that he's feeling pretty good. So I'm excited to get out there. We got a lot of stuff to still plan around it. But if you're interested in following this journey, please let us know. And if you want to support it in any way, please let us know, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope to do it, like you said, every year. You just keep carving away, depending on your schedule. You get out there when you can, you knock some miles down, and before you know it, you're going to hike the whole Appalachian Trail, which again, I believe is like it's like just under 2,200 miles.
Yep, something like
that.
Yep.
And we were talking to one of our buddies, again, I talked about him earlier, Nick, and you and I were initially talking, we were like, yeah, we probably do like 20 miles a day, right? Nick's like, you're out of your fucking mind. He's like, no, you're not. You're not going to do 20 miles a day. No. I was like, what about like 15? And he goes, you're pushing it.
Maybe
like,
12.
Maybe.
So I'm thinking when we first get out there, I'm thinking it's going to be like, you got that adrenaline rush. We're going to feel good. We're going to be like, yeah, let's do this. And then
day two.
And you're like, you know what? maybe day one I went a little too hard.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a growing pain. It's going to be learning. And again, it's so there's no timetable. There's no rush to it. It's on my terms. It's to make me feel good, to better myself as a person. And if that takes 12 years for me to do the whole thing, it takes 12 years to do the whole thing.
And when we first talked about it, when we were discussing different ideas on like an opportunity that you thought would be best to create that experience for yourself.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it then, but like I think it's really important for people in general to do something like that. Like whatever it is. Like I don't give a fuck what it is.
It doesn't even have to be like anything like that.
Nope.
It doesn't have to be anything.
Maybe it's a goal in the gym. Maybe it's you want to bench so much. Maybe you want to but whatever it is, I feel like it's so important to set something like that, set a goal like that for yourself that you will accomplish with the not so much assistance of other people, with the support of other people, but you're the one fucking doing the work, because that just actively builds to your own confidence, which is what we talked about.
And it's showing. I think so anyway. I feel a hell of a lot more confident, a lot more. Like I was telling you the other day, man, I looked in the mirror for the first time in years, and I actually liked what was looking back at me.
That's a fucking good thing, man.
So,
that's a very good thing, and I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah,
so I think it's a pretty fucking positive story to end with, since my computer froze. So again, if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns about the holiday blues, check out the I'm Fine Facebook page. If you think you might be dealing with SAD, seasonal affective disorder, that's what it's called, right? Seasonal affective disorder. Please reach out and talk to your mental health professional or professional in your area. And if we could say anything else, I think it would just be, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to the first episode of 2023.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
It's going to be a good one.
We'll release the information about that. Actually, do you just want to talk about who's going to be on there now?
Just real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So I'm pretty sure once we get it all set up, a gentleman named Lonnie Bedwell will be our guest on the episode. He is totally blind. He is the first totally blind person to kayak the Colorado River. I'm not going to give too much away about him, but I met him last year. He has totally changed my life, and I'm very excited for him to be on the show and for our listeners to get a little bit of who Lonnie Bedwell is.
So this dude's 100% blind,
100%.
And I know some of the stuff that he's done. He's done just a lot of insane shit that might make you feel a little bad for not doing so much cool shit. He's got an amazing story, incredibly motivated and very inspiring, and it'll be a great way to kick off the new year.
Yes, it will.
Fuck yeah, buddy. Okay. Right. Well, until next time, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and we'll talk to you very soon.